3, 2, 1, go. Alright, this is We Play Tanks. This is the game We Play is mainly known for. We're going to be doing all 100 missions in this run. Now, a few things to mention for the purpose of the commentated run. Or the marathon submission. I have done far less attempts of this than the splits actually indicate. Those were when I first started running the game and I wasn't actually going for 100 missions. That's unfortunate RNG there. I'm just going to go around, play a little safe. There we go. And I also have backup plans if the run dies. So I've done lots more runs than this. I've done runs of this in full game runs too. Nice. So if the run dies after 50 missions, then we'll do some tanks challenges. So tanks 1P2C, tanks mines only, stuff like that. And if it dies before then we probably have enough time to do another attempt just to see if we can get to 50. Because 50 shows off most of the game. But there's still a lot more challenge involved in the last half of Tanks 100. So what you might notice as well, just got an extra life. We have 22 total lives for the entire run here. We're not expected to just do all of this in 3 lives. That would be pretty difficult. Oh, very last minute defense there. So I sort of having to fire at my own bullets just to make sure I don't end up self-destructing or SDing. If I shorten that to SD at any point, that's what I mean. And we also have different tank grades. So we start off with these, the brown tanks. They are pretty slow at firing, and they also... let me just play behind the wall here. There we go. They also don't move, so they're pretty easy to deal with. We then have grey tanks. They do start to move, and they are defensive. The teal tanks are also defensive, but they shoot rocket bullets. So pretty much what that means is they will always run away, or most of the time will run away, and it makes them a massive pain in terms of the speed run. So a lot of the time I'll like to just start with those, get them out of the way. We then have yellow tanks, which are introduced on Mission 8 here. Now, yellow tanks have a mine limit of 4. Every tank, including my own, has a mine limit and a bullet limit. So some don't actually have any mines, but they all have bullets. So yellows only have 1 bullet, but they have 4 mines. So if you see yellow tanks on a mission, you are probably going to be having a lot less walls to deal with pretty soon after the start of the mission, if they've got anything to do with it. So we can break through some of these walls using mines, and any mine will break it, not just my own. And there are a few ways of detonating the mines, which I'll get into as well. And here we have red tanks. Red tanks are, they have no mines, but they have a bullet limit of 3. So we just want to outmash them pretty much. They can't fire quicker than us, as long as we can press the B button quick enough. They have a fire rate limit, so they can't just use all their bullets at once. But we don't have that. We can just fire as much as we want. So here I have a bullet limit of 5, so I'm trying to use my bullets as best I can to try and take this one out before moving up to the top. There we go, and then I have to go around this side. I could go down the bottom, but I just prefer, it's a little safer just to go up the top there. Doesn't lose a lot of time. And then now we have green tanks. Green tanks are the only tanks with a ricochet limit of 2 before their bullets actually get destroyed. I'm just going to take it out from afar, so it can't really do too much. They will still try and have a go, but as long as we sit fairly back and in the same place every time, we should be fine. So very much demonstrating how many mines we can get laid down at once here. Pretty much every yellow tank going for it right at the beginning. So yellow tanks don't really retarget when they see a bullet coming towards them. Most tanks do. They only retarget when a mine is near them, which is pretty interesting. And that actually makes mines only very difficult. They go from one of the hardest tanks in the game, one of the easiest tanks in the game to one of the hardest, which is really funny. Also, I definitely should have died there. If I can't take out those tanks right at the beginning, then that's really worrying. Also, that might take out the green, not quite. So here I'm just listening out for any sound effects when the green tank fires at me. So this layout is very different compared to 16:9 and 4:3. 4:3 is much more condensed in Wii tanks, or Wii Play tanks, and it essentially saves a lot of time every mission just for playing this. Even on the easy ones like Mission 1, it saves time. So that is why we're playing on 4:3, even though this is technically a 16:9 game. So purple tanks just got introduced. They're pretty similar to reds, but they also have mines, and they are a little bit more intelligent. They will run away when they need to. But a lot of the time, they will dash in on you as well. Now, here's quite a risky strat. I like to do it anyway, though, just to make my life easier on this mission. Essentially, I like rushing through and just getting that green with a nice angle on that wall. It doesn't work when you're starting out, not really. A lot of the time, I used to go up to the top and then just shoot it from afar. The issue is you need a really precise angle on the top wall to actually reach it. And then now is a mission I really like to just break down into 6 parts. This has 6 green tanks. They are very difficult to deal with. And as long as you sit back, you should be okay if you do the same thing every time. You can speed it up if you don't play too safe at the beginning, but a lot of the time that first tank will fire straight at you with a good angle. You can tell based on where the nozzle goes at the beginning. If it starts pointing up, then you might be fine. Now here I like to get at least 1 kill on the top tanks. There we go, there's our 1. I'm hoping the teal tank is going to come down to us at some point. It probably won't, but there is the occasion where it will. Because it is pretty defensive for the most part. Barely avoiding that there. There's a purple tank gone, and then we'll come back round for the teal. So mission 19, this is going to have 8 purple tanks. I like to fire at the wall here because it means we get our bullets back quicker. Our bullet limit of 5 can really interfere with what you want to be doing. But as long as you're firing at the walls and you're comfortable with doing that, because obviously it means you're a lot more susceptible to getting hit to bullets. If you do it, then the good reason is you get your bullets back a lot quicker. The moment the bullet explodes, either by hitting any tank or by... Nice, that was a really quick one there. And a sub 8:20, really nice. Yeah, definitely get some sleep, Mizu, if you're starting to fall asleep. I know it's late for you. Do not blame me if you want to head off. Thanks for being here, though. Appreciate it. So, yeah, there's a lot of different stuff that can go on in tanks. And now we're starting to get some randomized missions. So, first off, we saw those white tanks there. We're not going to see them for a little while, but they will come up again fairly soon. So, essentially, those white tanks, they go invisible. However, nice, very late defense there. It's very important to have those secured, really, for this run. So essentially, the white tanks go invisible, but you can still see their tracks, so they're not a massive pain to deal with. Nice. The tanks just don't really expect you to go through the wall there, so it makes them a lot easier to deal with. Nice. Nice takedown there. Good. So, every mission from 1 to 20 is completely predetermined. We always have the same stuff to deal with. Oh, that's unfortunate. That was very poorly dealt with. So that's the only issue with not firing straight at the tank. Because I was firing at the wall, it means that none of those bullets were there to defend me. But that's okay. So I just want to get some bullets fired at them there. Wow, massive explosion there in the top left, and that ends the mission. So... every multiple of 10 is also predetermined, as well as all of the missions 1 to 20. Nice. That was really good. And then every multiple of 5 is partially randomized. So, for example, 25, this is always the same layout, but it is sometimes different tank grades. The floor when mines only. Yeah, you get a lot of tracks on the ground on mines only. So I'm still going to go this way, I think. Alright, I just want to try and take out that purple tank. So if I get out of that area, the purple tank isn't going to fire at me nearly as much because I'm not there. As far as the AI is concerned, there's no reason to fire at me. However, obviously my tanks are going to come towards them. So it can be beneficial for me to just dip out of there as long as I've done a good spray, because it means that my bullets aren't going to get counteracted by their bullets. And that is a very, very fundamental concept in the run. Makes it a lot easier to deal with tanks from afar. And here we've got a green tank in the usual brown tank placement. So we are starting to see some recycled layouts. Oh, that red tank was very mean. Alright, I was not expecting it to fire straight at me there. That's fine. I will not break that wall in this run. And again, still couldn't take out that teal. So I want to sort of sit a little bit back just to see if I can take this out from afar. There we go. Just going to play safe around this red. Nice. Hey CC, how's it going? So I'm actually going to go around the bottom, I think, because I need to take out this brown tank anyway. Bit of an unlucky placement for it there, because obviously I need to wait for it to actually, or for me to actually get to the bottom, because I'm not going to be able to get the brown tank to come to me. I have to go to the brown tank. The only thing that can happen is that other tanks can push the tanks along. So like brown tanks and green tanks can move from their original placements, but really not very much. I would still need to have gone to the bottom there. So this is a predetermined mission. This is got two purples, 2 whites, and a green tank. So I just want to take out that green tank as soon as possible. White tank also was destroyed in the crossfire there. Nice. And that's a split. So from now on, I only have splits every 5, just so I can focus on the run. Yeah, I did break the wall a little bit too far there. The red tank could see me straight away, and then that was my lot. But that's okay. So eventually we will start to see more tanks per mission. We're actually going to get to see 8 by the end of the run, which gets very hard. I'm going to break this wall just in case the teal decides to be really defensive and annoying. But you really want to be racking up as many lives at the beginning as you can. So here the purple tank is much more of a threat than the grey tank is. So I'm just going to fire at the purple first. Didn't quite take it out, but that's fine. So I'm going to fire at that wall, see if we get anything good. Again, not quite. And now I just have a purple to deal with. So purples can be a massive threat. They're not the best tank in the game, but if they don't play ball, then they can often be the last one left at the end, even if you've started on them right at the beginning, which is what we're seeing here, actually. There we go. As long as we get into a one-on-one brawl with them and they want to just challenge me from there, then we could just outmash them. The same as the red tanks. Reds or pinks, I mean, the jury's out for which they are, actually. There we go. Nice takedown there. Oh, that's unfortunate. So because I was barely there, the tank did decide to fire at me, and that means that it counteracted the bullet that would have definitely got a kill. So here, this layout's kind of mean. So in the middle is that one tank, which could be anything. You don't know at the beginning, because this layout is this mission is randomized. So you have to be careful that that isn't a green tank, because it very well could be a green tank. There are ways of telling from there on out. So like if it was a white tank, then it would do the little invisible animation. But most of the time you just want to be safe around it anyway. So we are now up to 8 lives. Getting these deathless sets of 5 missions at the beginning is very, very important. I'm just going to fire straight at that green tank there. And we now have 2 brown tanks to deal with, which again are kind of slow, but of course, slow, but they are safe. So they are good to see. You undid 35 by accident. Yeah, I think what I did is I split there on 34 by accident, and then I then did the split on after mission 35, thinking that was it, but I actually split mission 40. Oh no. But yeah, it's fine. It's all sorted now. I did a funny split moment. Nice, really good there. Wasn't expecting to get that purple, but we absolutely take those. So what I could actually do there is I could lay a mine exactly where my cursor is at the moment, and because the tank is within 2 tiles, it would auto-detonate. Oh my goodness, I literally watched that rocket the entire time. Okay, I need to focus a little bit more. But yeah, there are ways of auto-detonating mines. I just want to deal with this green before I start explaining that. There we go. And there's a white tank as well. Nice. Brown tank. Wow, that was close. Okay, I thought I got the finish there, but apparently the white tank's still here. There we go. So, mines are laid, and then they auto explode after 10 seconds. So, 8 seconds, they stay on the yellow state. And then for... That should be fine, yep. For 2 seconds, they're on flashing. So, they flash yellow and red. And essentially what that means is you actually can't auto-detonate them yourself. So, if you go within 2 tiles of a mine, you can auto-detonate your own mine, or anyone's mine. But there is a slight window where you can actually back out of that and not die. So, also, yeah, very difficult layout here. This is a new layout added to the pool. It is a one-on-one brawl at the beginning. It is brutal. Glad to get that out of the way. I tried to defend myself twice there, and it just did not work. That's fine. Still got the green, and then from here it resets. All the obstacles reset, everything resets. So we still make progress on the mission, despite that. Just want to take out that yellow mine in the middle. So they're pretty much the only ways. And what you can also do is you can... that is another one where I've done that. What you can also do is just fire a bullet at the mines, and that will also take them out. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a mine here just in case one of the tanks decides, you know what, I'm actually just going to push the green tank into it, because that can happen. In fact, now, you know what, I'm just going to take it out, because I am right in the open area there, and I do not want to be in an open area of a green tank. That is not what you want. That is not something you want to see. Nice. Yeah, the cage 1v1 is very difficult, but we will see an even harder one later. Almost dying in the explosion there. So another thing with mines is that you can actually die in the explosion as long as the actual explosion effect is still on screen. So the explosion does last for a little while. It's not just as soon as it explodes, everything in the area dies. It's however long the fire is on screen. So it's a little bit more than that. And that's why I'm playing a little safe when I'm doing these detonations here. I was hoping for a takedown of that purple. That was very sketchy. And again. So red tank's rushing me in, and then the grey tank just sort of chilling at the back. That's okay. Not really very far for it to run on that layout. So basically every layout we see from now on, with a few exceptions, gets added to a layout pool. And all these randomized missions can have whatever layout they like. Again, with a few more rules than that. Nice. But a lot of these layouts are going to get added at these multiples of 5, and this is another one. So this is pretty much a kind of Space Invaders-esque layout here. As long as I know exactly how many ricochets and stuff is going on with these green tanks, we should be okay. That's that one taken out. And then just a grey tank to finish off. And that's a split. So we've got 5 more to go before 15, as you can see. About 40% of this run, 30 to 40% is the first 50 missions, and then the rest of it is 51 to 100. There are loads more tanks in terms of the actual tank count at that stage, and there is also one final tank grade, which we have not yet seen. Yellow tank actually boxing itself in there with its own mines. Very good. That is what we want to see. Basically, every time a mine is laid, it kind of acts like an invisible wall for the enemy tanks. They just don't want to go near it. They will sometimes go near it, but they generally won't, as long as they have another alternative. If they have no other alternatives, they do just go for it sometimes. And that should do it. There we go. Some of my own bullets counteracting my own there, which is why I kind of spread out my shots occasionally. So there I like to just use 3 or 4 of my bullets and then save 1 for the wall. Just to do any of these tiny optimizations we can. And then here, I'm just going to be safe because I knew one of my own bullets was coming towards me there. And it did happen a little while ago, but we now have 5 tanks per layout. So it is slightly harder to deal with each one. So this red tank's much more likely to rush me. Well, the green tank can't rush me. So we're just going to come for it now. And then I'm going to wait until it's taken out, and then we're going to go in the inside. And because there's nothing too important in here, nothing like a green tank or anything, we are just going to go straight through the middle. It's just going to be faster and safer than me waiting for it to go around the outside. And then here is the final tank grade, the black tank. 50, mission 50. This is what it has all come down to. This is the final tank grade we're going to see. Now, these are really hard to deal with. And the reason for that is because they are very fast. They have rocket bullets. They do not ricochet, but that would just be a nightmare if they ricocheted. I would definitely have died to that. That might be a PB on 50 as well, so I'm really happy. I'm going to have to retime that. But yeah, essentially we will see those again later, and they will now start to come up on some of these randomized layouts. So that is where they're incredibly scary. Mission 50, though, is one of their hardest appearances, because it is on the Mission 5 layout, where you ordinarily have teal tanks, and teal tanks are a lot easier to deal with there, because teals will always fire straight at you, apart from at the beginning of a mission. So as long as you're always moving, and you're not really close to them, you'll be fine. But with the black tanks, they just do whatever the heck they want. So you've got to be very, very aware of your surroundings, very aware of everything else going on, and we actually have a black tank on this layout. So I want to be dealing with that in a moment. So it's kind of boxed itself in. There is a mine here. That's okay. So because there's... Oh, for goodness sake. Because there's not a whole lot of room for it to move at the top, that could have been very easy. Unfortunately now it's probably going to be a lot harder for me to deal with. But that's okay. So it's going to come towards me here. I'm going to have to defend myself against my own bullets. So as long as I do a nice little spray, we should get a free kill. But it's when we have to deal with other tanks at the same time that it's difficult. So 2 greens here, gonna focus. Don't know what that angle was doing. Whenever you see an angle that's really weird like that, you've got to be worried, because chances are it's going to be a really well calculated angle by the AI, and you do not want to have to deal with those. I don't think I've watched a movie that has minesweeping, no. So here I just want to be firing at as many tanks as I can. I only have 5 bullets, but I might as well be making the most of my time and my ammo. And then here we've just got a red. So this layout is very difficult to deal with. We will have a chance of seeing that later on, especially when there are 8 tanks per mission. But the issue with that there, normally it's mission 10 where you only have 2 reds. But the issue with it there is that there's not much space to move. You also just can't see a lot because a lot of the walls are very high. And because it's a 2.5 dimensional game, it makes it very, very difficult to see what you're doing. So here, this is another new layout. It's mission 55. The good thing about this one is once you've taken out all the ones at the bottom, you kind of just have free reign over half of the map. They do sometimes go through this gap, but it takes a lot for them to go through there. So you're generally safe. And a lot of tanks is not about being safe, but it's about minimizing risk. Now, here, this is going to be a very tough one to deal with. I am going to go for it because it's just the easiest way of doing this. There we go. Nice. And I'm actually going to take this one through the wall. I've got to go this way anyway. And then here, I think I'm going to go the long way dealing with this. That was very close. Nice. I would have gone all the way around the left side had it not have got in an opportune place. The thing is, when the tanks fire, they do have to stop for a little bit, including my own. So if the tank is firing at you, obviously it's scary, but at the same time it can help you. So this is a lot harder. There's only 3 tiles for me to move, so I'm actually going to go the long way to take this one out. And I am going to... Yeah, see, this is the issue. The longer you leave these tanks in the game, the scarier it's going to be. You just want to take them out as early as you can, really. But at the same time, it will be even harder to deal with them on the other side there, or halfway through the walls by breaking the stone walls. At least in my opinion. It would obviously be faster, but it would be very difficult. Nice takedown. Good. So we really want to hit around 10 lives at this stage, so we have enough leeway for later on in the run. Nice defense. Very good. Just turning around with the motion control or the pointer quick enough to defend those is difficult. Even if you know the bullet is coming towards you, you've got to put the pointer in the right place and then be ready for it. So here is mission 60. I'm actually not going to fire at the walls here. I'm just going to fire straight at the tank. And that's a really nice start. So we actually managed to take down most of the difficult ones. That is a death, but that's fine. Really productive beginning. And hopefully that should take that one down. So what I would like to do, I like to just get straight to the middle, try and take out a black tank on the right side, take out the green as soon as possible because they are brutal through 1-block spaces. And this mission, again, very, very difficult. Even the brown tank coming into action there. I'm actually just going to take it out now, I think. Oh, that's my own bullet again. That's fine. This layout is brutal. We want to see this layout as little as possible, and we've already seen it twice. Hopefully we're going to get our bad luck out of the way at the beginning, because seeing this when there are 8 tanks on screen is brutal. There's no other word for it. It's brutal. We're going to take out that brown tank there. And the thing is, I can't see behind that wall again. There we go. So a lot more of these multiples of 5, we're going to be losing 1 or more lives from now on, as we see more and more tanks per mission and stuff like that. So that's why we really need to get as many lives as we can at the beginning, otherwise we're going to end up just life draining and there is a risk of not completing the run. So there hasn't been a mine laid apart from that one in 10 seconds, I'm fairly sure, so I'm pretty safe. If there was, then I'd just stay in open spaces where I can actually see the game, rather than behind walls and such. Nice. That's a good takedown. Really wanted to get that purple there. Purple would have been a massive threat, because I'm knowing this red tank is coming around this side. Alongside the white tank, even the teal tank might have come into play at some point. That would have been very difficult had I not taken that out. Purples and reds are the massive, like, backup units, which you want to be dealing with. Like, again, they're not the best tank, but they are very good, and they are very strong in numbers. And then here, I'm just going to take out this green. Nice. I'm surprised that green didn't fire at me at all, but I guess it just couldn't find an angle on me. They will only fire when they have a decent angle on you. And here's another new layout. So this is layout mission 65. This box is my friend. I want to stay in this box for as long as possible. It does limit my movement, but I like to stay in here because the tanks don't often challenge. Okay, now the issue is I'm kind of forced out because another tank's mine has got me out of here, but that's okay. As long as most of the threats are gone, I don't mind leaving the box, but I like to just stay in there for as much as possible. It's not great in terms of a speedrun point of view, but in terms of a safe point of view, it's much better. If I was going for a PB attempt, I probably would get out of the box as soon as possible. But you do still want to be safe, because obviously losing lives does still cost time. Okay, I'm going to go around this way. So they've kind of boxed themselves in with that mine. I want to use that to my advantage, knowing they're not going to be able to go that way. Okay, I don't think there are any more mines. Nice, getting a couple of preemptive shots in there. Purple tank just sort of going there occasionally. Doesn't normally work out, but you might as well give it a go if you're not doing anything at the time. Nice, very good. That should be okay. Yeah, always want to be doing at least a couple of shots on those screens, because there's every chance that they will just keep on hammering away at your own bullets. And then you're just going to have to get another shot on them. Probably not going to get any kills for that. Yep, unsurprising. Nice. Very good. Lots of different ways that could have gone, actually. I was expecting a death there. Alright, so I think I'm going to lay a mine here and doing the same thing as before. Now, this is a very, very scary position to be in. Yep, we are now fine. I'm waiting for that mine to explode. There we go. Really need to be having a safe bullet, which I don't have at the moment. Okay, right. So black tank is still kind of trapped. Doesn't really want to come out from there. I'm actually going to lay a mine there. It's going to kind of force it to stay. And I might even lay a second one too, because there's every chance that it actually stays in place because of those. So we've pretty much got two invisible walls, and actually the mine killed it there. And that is kind of what makes mines only possible. Even the smartest tanks in this game are susceptible to that occasionally. Just much less common than the low-grade tanks. So I'm fairly sure a bullet's coming towards me. No, I was wrong, but that's okay. Just want to be absolutely safe whenever you think that's going to happen. Mission 70, this is another new layout. This is the maze layout. Nothing is breakable here, so this is a very slow layout, but you do have a lot of space to yourself at the beginning. Now, this can come up randomly, and if it does, we will lose a little bit of time. But in terms of a safe run, we want this to come up. So now we sort of just move through. Keep doing these wall shots as often as possible. Probably not going to get too much going on there, but that's okay. Almost dying to that there. And we've actually forced the black tank to go around. The black tank doesn't often rush you. It will sort of approach a little bit, but it doesn't really like rushing. So you can actually sort of force it around. You do have the upper hand with the ground, with the black tanks. Some tanks you do not have that. The red tanks will just go at you. The purple tanks can just go at you. But black tanks don't always do that, because they recognise when it's beneficial for them to not do that. And that kind of makes them more scary. Gonna fire at the wall there, see if we get the takedown. Yes, we do. And that mine actually might force the black tank in towards us. Didn't quite happen, but I do need to deal with it now because that wall is destroyed. That is gone. Very good. Kind of thought that yellow tank would fire its single bullet at me there. It almost did. As soon as it's pointing its nozzle at you, you've still got to be aware. It does only have one bullet, but if you don't know where that one bullet is, you have to be safe. Okay, very good. Gonna just fire a few bullets down there. And nice takedown, very good. So this is a really nice position because we've got a lot more room to breathe with taking down that green tank. That's much nicer than at the beginning of the map where you've got next to no room at all. And here I'm actually going to try and take down a few of these tanks at the same time. Going for the green, mainly. There we go. And it is done. So I could have saved the brown tank for a little while, because while any other tank is alive, the enemy tanks don't particularly want to fire in that direction, because they don't want a friendly fire. Although it can still happen, and it does. It often happens in these runs. Normally once on average per 100 mission run. Sometimes more. But yeah, you do want to be using that sometimes, but a lot of the time it's not really worth doing that. So here, another thing I haven't actually mentioned yet is the failsafe when you fire at the wall. So if you fire directly at the wall, you'd expect to just die, right? But if you're within one tile of the wall, the bullet just won't come out. It will do the bullet explosion effect, but the bullet just won't come out. Which is nice to know, because it means you don't lose as many lives in a cheap way as you would expect to. So here we get the maze layout again. This is predetermined. Oh, not the maze layout, the box layout. And we do have this green tank to deal with. Remember, these tank grades are randomized here, so I do need to be careful. And this is why every tank's run is different. It really just means you're prepared for any of the layouts. You know what all the layouts look like, and you know what all the tank grades do, but you're always going to have a different scenario to deal with them in. So we're now dealing with 6 tanks on this layout, which is not ideal, but we are going to have to go with it now. Nice. That was really fortunate, actually. Even though it was a bad layout, that was quite fortunate, because the tanks just sort of played ball there. Nice. Very good. Want to be dealing with that mine as well. And I'm actually going to fire at the wall. And all of my bullets cancelled each other out, so I'm just going to fire straight at the tank this time. There we go. I think I should have done that in the first place, but no worries. No death from it. We're all good. So here is the Mission 17 layout, except we actually do have green tanks in their original positions. And that little invisible wall from the mine there, actually not really helping me. Making it a little bit slower. There we go. And we're getting this layout again. Quite nice to see this. Very good. Got a mix of whether you want to play safe or offensive here. Very good. So I really just want to sit back now. I don't have too many bullets remaining. There we go. So actually was good that I charged in there, because the tank froze in place. It meant that it was trying to dodge out of the way, but it couldn't. And here we have Mission 80. This is fully breakable, and what better stage to put yellow tanks on than one that is fully breakable? Okay, that was very fortunate, again, at the beginning. Lots of tank deaths there. So what you want to do is you want to just take out as many of the yellows as possible. Very good. Very, very clean mission here. Now, I actually can't get across unless I break those stone ones. But that's fine. Still getting through. 11 lives. I think this might be a first. I don't think I've ever been on 11 lives, which is quite something. That was very good. I expected to actually die from that mine there, but even if I did, there was only one yellow tank remaining. So the mines are actually prioritized to kill you first, and then any other tanks. Oh, that's unfortunate. So there's like a slight delay of the mine actually killing you. There There we go. Very risky to fire at the wall there because it meant I had 0 bullets when I was first starting out against that purple tank. But it's still worth doing just in case I get a kill on the black tank or the other purple. Just trying to box this one in again. It's not quite working out. Don't particularly want to charge in, but I will do it when necessary. And we are still on 10 lives, which is a very advantageous position to be in. And yet again, another invisible wall here with the mine. Yellow tanks are your friend, and they very much are in this run. I'm going to wait until that mine goes, and then I'm going to charge in. So, black tank not even firing me there because the yellow tank was kind of in its way. Which is what made that rush quite nice there. Gonna, again, only use 4 bullets. Not quite taking out that red, but that's okay. Okay, nice. Really good mission there, and good defense at the end with the green. I could have fired at the wall, but because it was at the top anyway, I would pretty much have had to go straight in. This is brutal. Wow, this is randomized, and it's giving me a black tank in the center. This is unreal. All right, it's gone. And very key to note, the one that is gone is the one that will spawn on the inside. They do keep their placements. That is the one that would spawn on the inside, should I die here. So that's very key. It's not going to just suddenly replace the other one to spawn in the middle. It will be that one. And here I'm actually going to rush this one just because the mine is there. That is possibly the most brutal 85 you can have. So you're always going to have that layout. That's what makes that so difficult. But you don't know what tank is going to be in the middle. And that is the first run I've had that in a while. First one I can remember, definitely. And very, very glad that I managed to get through that with 0 deaths. That was not expected. And actually not really needed either. At the moment, I'd like to be on 6 or 7 lives. Okay, that was a difficult mine there by the yellow. I'd like to be on at least 6 or 7 lives. And I've always said I'd like to be on 10 for the last 10 missions, just because it gives you the best cushion possible. But you don't really have to be. You can still get through it even without that much leeway. Oh, and another death there. Okay. I have a better way of dealing this one. That's fine. We're going to go through that middle wall. It's not a better way of dealing with it, but it will probably be more effective. Or most likely to be. There we go. So you do still see the rocket bullet animation very slightly, but the mine just sort of cancels it out. Some of the bullets actually get destroyed by the mine for a little while. And yet again, this mission. Very tough here. And another death. Okay. I'm going to focus a little bit. We only have 5 tanks to deal with now. Still tough, though. Nice. Good start. Nice. Okay, only 1 death on a very tough layout again. I really don't want to see much of that layout anymore. I really want to see some others. This is actually the first time we've seen it, this one, in the randomized, which is surprising. Sometimes you just go through entire tanks runs not seeing a layout, except for the first time where it's actually fixed to appear. Sometimes that just happens. Nice. And again, the Space Invaders layout. Lots to do here. Nothing much getting taken out in terms of high-grade tanks. Red is gone, though, which is going to prove useful. Yellow has laid a mine. It's in a very bad spot for the enemy tanks. And it should be trapped in now. Still not quite working out. There we go. Okay, and here's a white tank to deal with. It is rushing me. which is surprising on this layout. Again, they don't often go through these gaps. The gaps don't actually kill you. It doesn't let you through the gaps. They're just sort of walls that aren't blocking your view, pretty much. Okay, now this is a very deceptively difficult mission. So I've actually died. There we go. 3 tanks are dead, but you have to deal with 8 grey tanks. And because they fire so randomly, this is brutal. You get to this mission casually, and you just think, well, why are there 8 grey tanks? This is supposed to be difficult, but it is very difficult. The not knowing what to expect aspect is what makes this so difficult. And it's not just that, it's the mind games. You die to this mission, and say you're on 1 life, you just think, well, I shouldn't have died there. It's grey tanks. I'm 90 missions into the game. But it just happens, and sometimes there's just nothing you can do. Well, that's how it feels anyway. And this game does a great job of making you feel useless sometimes. But really, it's just because there's so much going on. It's just that difficult to deal with sometimes that it's not often your fault. It's just the game giving you bad RNG. And if you didn't know the layouts were randomized when you played this originally, then it just goes even further to make you feel stupid. As soon as I saw the 90 layout, it looked a bit mean. Yeah. The worst part is that it's on the Mission 3 layout. So, it's just destined to make you feel silly. It's almost like they put, like, a Kaizo level into regular tanks. That's how it feels. And that should be trapped there. Oh, not quite. Oh my goodness, that should have been a free kill. I didn't know there was a mine there, actually. Okay, we are out of the box, though. And that should get a kill. Nice. We've got 8 lives for 8 missions. That is the average I talked about. Wow, Black Tank being incredibly unsportsmanlike. Actually firing a bullet even though the brown tank was there. You know what? I don't care about you, actually. I'm just going to do what I think is best. I mean, it didn't kill the brown tank, to be fair, but it could have. That's the key. It could have. Okay, I'm actually going to keep firing inside the wall here. There's a lot to deal with at the moment, and I don't particularly want to go in there at the moment, because that black tank is still looking at me, and there's still quite a lot. Okay, there we go. Now it's a bit more manageable. Still bad, but manageable. Okay, I'm going to go this way this time. Very good. Okay. See, this is the issue. The black tank, I have to rush here, because if I go, like, slightly that way and, like, ricochet my bullets on the wall, it might just, like, not work out. And another black tank on this layout. How mean is this game going to be in this run? And a green tank in the worst place possible as well. This is just unreal RNG here. I've got a fly buzzing around me. Can we just take out this green tank, please? Oh, I had to have the defense there, otherwise I would definitely have died. Okay, I'm going to go this way. There we go. Tank couldn't change the nozzle direction quick enough. The good thing is we don't have that limit. Again, we can just aim wherever we want. But the tanks actually have to move their cursor. Oh, this is rough. Okay, right. So this is fixed to appear. This layout is fixed. Nice. Very good. I do not have many bullets at the moment. Kind of want to deal with that red, though. Good. The green tank on ambush. I know. I just kept on firing like 10 different times and just expected it to be gone. Okay, I'm going to go the safe way on this one. I think that's understandable. I have 8 tanks to deal with. There's a lot going on. It's just not going to be a benefit to me to go the shortcut way. I might as well just go this way. Nice. Very good. And that should be gone. Nice. 4 missions to go. Okay, so I could cut the corner on this one. I think I will. I think I will on the first life. You know what? We're going to do it. We are going to give it a go and see what happens. Maybe it's working out here. See, the thing is, it's good to recognize when it's good to cut through, because it is a bit risky on the surface, but at the same time, it prevents me from going the long way and having like 4 tanks to deal with at once if they want to be rushing me. So in a way, it does kind of help sometimes. Normally, it's just a bit risky, but sometimes there is the occasion where it actually is useful. Okay, I expect a lot of them are going to come through this wall at some point, so I am going to go this way. I was actually going to go at the top, but I am going to go this way. Still a white tank to deal with. One thing I haven't actually talked about yet is the progressive music. So the music actually progresses based on the highest grade tank that is still in the game, which is a good way of telling which is the last one remaining if you need that pointer. I don't know how I'm still alive here. I want to be honest. I just kept on mashing B and living. That's how it feels at this stage of the game. I just keep on firing at the opponent bullets and then hoping for the best. That's the only good defense you can do, really. Alright, 1 to go. So this has 4 black tanks, 2 brown tanks, a white tank, and a green tank. Again, deceptively difficult. Well, actually, it just does look difficult, this one, to be fair. But it is on the Mission 1 layout, so we come full circle. Time is going to end on the final tank being destroyed, and that is time 51:42. Huge PB. Wow. Okay, and if that happened on the marathon, as I mentioned earlier, I do have a couple of backups where I can fill time if wanted. I have Tanks 1P2C, which is an amazing run. I love it. And we also have Tanks Mines Only. Yeah, I also do have PBs of those up if any marathon wanted to check them out, just to sort of vet them before featuring them. But yeah, thanks for the GGs, everyone. Thanks, Miss Truffles. Thanks, Paco. Thanks, Queenie. Appreciate it. I was just not expecting a PB during that, and that was just a solid run. I'm going to be doing lots more practice of this before any marathons that are coming up. So I'm just aiming to make this as safe as possible. This is one of the least safe things I can submit, but I think with the amount of practice I'm putting in, I'm trying to make the unsafe runs the most safe. And I think that's kind of proven it there. That was some of the unluckiest RNG I've had in Tanks 100, and I still had 7 or 8 lives left at the end, which is fantastic. Thanks for watching on YouTube, and yeah, I'll see you around.